All right, little baby. We're at Junior's here in Brooklyn. Hey, what did we do the first pack?
This is the only one I like.
Articuno? All right, we got pack 2. She's making me record, folks. It's not my idea.
It used to be your idea.
Well, it used to be my idea, but you started liking it, so.
Yeah, I like it.
Now you rather me record. You say you have better luck or whatever. All right, let's go. Crow. Oh, what is that? Fledge something? No. Oh, we got a Lujo! Wait a minute. That's a textured super duper Lujo. I wish we had a sleeve. All right, but that is a cool Lujo V-Star. Good job, little baby. All right. Welcome to FaBled Hunters.
Hi, I'm Yuanji.
I'm Saint.
And today we're going to be talking about Rosetta.
Rosetta?
But
that is a set, right?
Yeah, but kind of about how it's impacting previous sets. And this is kind of an interesting thing. I actually thought about this originally when I was at the SCG Con in Washington, D.C.
Sure.
I talked to kind of a more casual Flesh and Blood player who was at the event. And I was asking him,
those are battle hardened. There are casuals at battle hardened?
Oh yeah.
Oh, battle hardened sound like sweaty events. They're not?
I mean, they are, but
okay.
I still found some casuals. Actually, the first round opponent that I played against was somebody who, it was their first Flesh and Blood event ever.
Okay.
They had come to SCG Con to play Magic.
Oh.
But they only play like Magic Limited.
Oh.
And there weren't any like limited events running.
So the
first event they decided to give FaBled a try, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Pretty interesting
cool.
interaction.
We welcome new players.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you beat them?
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah, but part of it is also like
being friendly
making sure
about
that they have a good experience.
Yep. So not kicking their ass too hard.
Yeah, even if they're like making mistakes. Sometimes like if you see them making like an obvious mistake, you'd be like, oh, you should do this instead.
Oh, was it It was the battle hardened, or was it just a side event?
Yeah, it was a battle hardened.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I was talking to this more casual player about how they interacted with buying Flesh and Blood product.
Yeah.
So they said that when they first got into Flesh and Blood was when Bright Lights came out. So they bought like a bot or
oh no.
Actually, they said the first time they went to like an event, like a learn to play event, and then he like won like the raffle, so he got a box of Bright Lights for free.
Okay.
Then he opened the cards. He got like some like a twin drive and like something else, and then he ended up buying like I think 1 or 2 more boxes of Bright Lights to kind of like make his deck. Whatever.
It's Bright Lights. Okay.
Yeah, and then he bought I think he bought a box of Dynasty, and I was like confused because there's all cards for all these like different classes.
Non-mechanologist cards, right?
Yeah, and he couldn't like make a thing. He couldn't like make a deck out of the cards.
Okay.
And then he bought I think when Part the Mistveil came out, I think he said he bought like a couple of boxes of Part the Mistveil to make like some to make a deck out of those cards.
Well, that's a lot easier, right?
Yeah, and then I think when Rosetta came out, he said he wasn't like that interested in the Rosetta hero, so he was gonna skip on this set.
That's what a lot of people said, but it seems a lot of people are coming back in Rosetta, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying I think there's either way, but the point I wanted to highlight is kind of like how he's interacting with the sets.
Okay.
Where it's like the set comes out, it has like heroes that you want to play. You buy that set. You buy maybe like a couple boxes of the set. You make a deck for that hero. Okay. Which is possible. The way that they're currently designing the sets.
Ever since Heavy Hitters, that seemed to be the Heavy Hitters.
Yeah.
Part the Mistveil, and now Rosetta. They're all self-contained to certain talents, elements, heroes, and whatnot, right?
Yeah, and I would make the argument that Rosetta's kind of interesting because you would think that with elemental rune blades being half of the set, that there would be a lot of overlap using cards from from
Tales of Aria.
Okay, but it's not exactly the case. Like I know some Aurora decks play Arcanic Shockwave and Entwine Lightning.
Those sound like
They're commons.
Toa costs cards,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, they're commons.
Okay.
And I know that people play Shock Charmers, and also
That's Toa as well.
Yeah. And people play, and Florian plays Channel Heroic. But what I'm saying is that like I'm listing a couple of select cards that people are playing, and for the most part, the way like it's not really interacting with Tales of Aria as a whole. The mechanics that they're using, like Decompose, don't mesh that well with the mechanics from Tales of Aria, which was Entwine. Mostly because like all the cards that have Entwine are elemental cards and they're not earth cards.
Okay.
So when you think about it that way, like when you build a deck for Florian, like if you want to build a competitive deck for Florian, you're going to mostly use cards from Rosetta, which I don't find that to be a completely bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I think that's probably fine. But I think when it comes to the collectability of cards, I think that this is going to pose a problem that LSS is going to have to kind of think about how to like engineer a solution for.
I have a solution. I know this might not be a popular one. Actually, it should be a popular one. If they just unbanned Crown of Seeds, that would make Toa that much more popular.
Dude,
They should unban Crown of Seeds.
No, man.
Why? It interacts with two of the heroes.
No, dude, Crown of Seeds with counter blessing seems ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they should not hire you to balance the game.
I would say it would be great for collectability, right?
Yeah.
People would collect colorful Crowns of Seeds again.
They're just like gonna kill the game for a
No,
couple months.
but Oldham's gone.
So?
Is Crown of Seeds that oppressive?
Yes.
It was such a fun card to play.
No.
It was such a fun piece of gear to play, putting a card down and shielding one life and.
It's fun for one player.
Huh? It's fun for one player?
Yeah, no, it's
Fine.
Never again. No.
I think it's an awesome card. Is it too awesome? Is that the problem?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah,
okay.
good.
Carry on.
Yeah, but like, I think that the problem is that the way that they design the sets is that even from previous sets it doesn't like mesh that well, and then you saw this a little bit in the past as well, like when Vincent came out.
Dust Till Dawn. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, like Vincent doesn't really use like the same cards.
Not as Chain.
That Chain does, and I think that obviously this is intentional on their part. It's a little bit easier to design and balance when the decks are more siloed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this might, and I'm not saying that it is. I don't have like a super strong opinion on it one way or the other. But I think that it might cause some issues later on down the line in terms of collectability if they don't print enough like generically powerful cards for the classes or talents or whatever in each set, because when you look at Living Legend, like you really want Living Legend to kind of be the place where you can play like a mix and match of everything. And so, for example, can you really see like Starvo or Oldham playing some of the Decompose cards? Like, do they actually want to play like enough Earth cards in order to like kind of justify that cost? I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe they will. Maybe that's not the case. But this is going to be kind of, I think, a problem for them moving forward, where I think they always have to kind of design with this in mind, where I think every set there's kind of I don't want to say like a burden, but it's like a responsibility to print a card that interacts really well with like in a generic fashion.
Okay.
And so kind of the reason why that's important is you look at and I know that supplemental sets got like a lot of flack. I think as a product it didn't work out as well as maybe they like originally were intended to. But supplemental sets kind of address this, where cards in supplemental sets, because they're not printed for like any deck in mind, they operate on a more kind of like generic way. And so you have cards like Swarming Gloomveil, like Revel and Runeblood, and these cards are just always going to be played in Runeblade. you know?
Yeah. Because they're generically powerful.
Yeah.
And they boost up the expected value of Everfests too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it'll be like, I think it's kind of an interesting thing because like as soon as Rosetta came out, these cards kind of jumped up in price. It's just like cards like these that are getting played in like these kinds of generic effects. I think it puts a lot more stress on the expansion slot.
Okay.
I think the expansion slot is probably going to be where most of these types of effects are going to come from that make the set, I guess, more evergreen in terms of collectability.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, I'm sure, you know, as LSS get more experience and as they develop more sets, maybe they'll have this in mind moving forward. But, you know, I just find it like pretty fascinating to think about, should we be collecting these expansion slot cards harder? Should we be, you know, whenever they're cheap, should we be stockpiling these? Because other than that, like a lot of the majority of the set, if they continue down this design path, you know, even like the Majestics that are played in the set, it's hard to find like a big use for them, you know, later on.
Okay, well, I think to be fair, they seem to cycle in and out of different classes being in favor.
Yeah.
They seem to cycle in and out of the talents, right? Like, there's a lot of our word on the street is Volcor is coming back, right? Mm-hmm. Draconic is coming back. There's a lot of talk that Dromai is going to make a reappearance despite being living legend.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I don't know that you want 30 or 50% of the cards from the older set. Presumably Uprising, is that the only Draconic set?
Yeah.
Really? So presumably Uprising cards, I don't want necessarily 50% of all Uprising cards to come back in the meta.
Sure.
I think you want all the Draconic cards to be in consideration, but all said and done, I mean, even in other TCGs, look at Magic. Do you really use 50% or more of the card pool in any competitive season? Or could it be argued that less than 50% of any card sees competitive play outside of Limited? Like, there's an application for Limited, there's an application for collecting, and then does an argument need to be made for every card to be competitive? Right?
No. That's not what my argument is. I think my argument is that, like, I recognize, but going back to your Magic example, mm-hmm. the cards are inherently just a little bit more generic because the deck building requirement is just that you're playing the color. Mm. So whenever that card effect is good, mm-hmm. you can play it. Whereas for Flesh and Blood, I think because of both the class and the talent restriction, mm-hmm. when you're designing the cards, it's a little bit more granular.
Okay.
And so I just think I just wanted to highlight for the viewers, you know, this is just something I've been thinking about. I think it's posing like a unique problem for LSS to tackle. It's like, you want to print cards that, you know, are generically powerful. Okay. Like, for example, Levels of Enlightenment. Yeah. That card is just generically powerful in the Mystic class. Mm-hmm. And so presumably any Mystic hero that gets printed in the future, would want to...
We'll come back and use it.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, you also... it looks like their current design philosophy is to kind of silo the heroes and the decks more to, you know, one or two sets, which, you know, that has its pros as well.
Okay.
And I just find it all like pretty interesting to think about when you look at the context of Living Legend versus CC. Mm-hmm. Like, how are they gonna like make these cards that are interesting and offer new deck building avenues in Living Legend, mm-hmm. while not necessarily impacting CC because they're too powerful or whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay.
They just printed in Rosetta the Briar. Basically, it's like a Briar card. It's like an Earth Runeblade Lightning Split card. Okay. And, you know, that card is super exciting because now Briar has this like new like fulminate kind of crazy game plan, which is, it's like a pseudo Channelman Heroic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, I think it's interesting to consider, and definitely something that I'm gonna personally keep an eye out in the future to see like how it is that they're tackling, because like whether or not they do a good job of this, I think will heavily impact the collectability of their sets moving forward.
Interesting. Okay, so you're still saying that there needs to be playability, there needs to be interactivity with the old sets, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of generic good stuff in the old sets, was there not?
Well, I'm saying in the new sets moving forward, they need to like keep finding ways to
interact
to
with the
make
old
generic.
cards.
No, to make generic. Well, so with the new set is going to become an old set and
One
like,
day. Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
So they need to like build like some amount of evergreen aspect, I think,
That makes
into
sense.
the sets.
Well, they should add more generic cards, like things like even recently. What, Erase Face? Is that recent? Erase
Uprising.
Face? Well, it's Uprising. That feels
like
recent to me.
year and a half ago.
Well, still, that card is now interacts with or shuts down some of the Rosetta heroes.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, and it's coming back into the meta.
Yeah.
So that's good. Is there anything else recently? I mean, isn't the current meta interacting with Dash.io? Or Dash.io is now coming into prominence because of the changes and because of the evolving meta, making Bud Light like, welcome again.
Yeah, they're it's also because they printed they're printing like an armory deck where she has like a pretty powerful new item.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like equipment gear.
No, it's an item.
So it goes in her deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it just lets her like draw a card for an action point.
Wait, what? Action point? Trade for a card?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't she cheat out action points though?
Yeah, with high octane.
Yeah. What?
Well, that's,
Didn't we just go through book burnings and not having card draw mechanics?
yeah, that's okay. She's special, I guess.
Draw, or Dash gets a pass, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
In any case,
Life's not fair in Wraith, I guess.
I think it'll be interesting to see how LSS kind of tackle this problem, because I think that ultimately, and you and I have said this before, I think ultimately the interest in Living Legend, in my opinion, is one of the only things, or like the major factor that influences the long-term collectability of this game.
That and PvE. I'm gonna make it a
It's a running thing.
It's a running thing. Until player versus environment comes out.
Yeah.
Then collectability will be awesome again. Make collectability good again. Alright? PvE.
Yeah, but I just think, I think we've said it before, where Living Legend, I'm not going to say Flesh and Blood is going to live or die by the success of Living Legend.
But it's either going to thrive or it's going to just be, a cyclical card game.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah, it can, like, Flesh and Blood can either be a collectible game on the scale that Magic has become.
Yep.
Or, it can be like a flavor of the month type of card game, as, like a lot of these other like Japanese Bandai card games, whatever.
I know. Worlds 2025. Make Living Legend a required format. What? If you're the world champion, hey, if they subjected people to play Blitz, despite all that bitching and moaning, and we still had a world champion, then they can subject people to play Living Legend. Right?
Sure.
I mean, it's not so bad. Didn't a Living Legend calling happen recently?
It's going to happen at the end of the year.
Oh, it's later down? The thing in Chicago is like later?
Yeah, it's like around like Christmas time or something.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to see how that plays out, but I still think Living Legend's pretty... Wasn't there a Living Legend event that caused the damn Kraken Aether Vein controversy in the first place?
Yeah, it was a Battle Harden. That was run by Min-Max.
That was a Living Legend.
Or, sorry, it's a ProQuest. ProQuest Plus that was run by Min-Max.
ProQuest Plus?
Yeah.
What's a ProQuest Plus?
It's like a Battle Hardened half.
Okay. Some hybrid formats that I will never need to know what they mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in any case, it's funny. I had a talk with Trevor Baker in person where I told him that our opinion that we thought Living Legend was, really important.
Yeah.
And I think that the opinion at LSS is as well, but he was like, yeah, but we want it to be organic. We don't want to really like force it down people's throats.
Okay.
And in my head, I'm like, just force it down their throats. Like,
force it down the throats.
like okay, like we can hate on Hasbro for like pushing Commander and like all that things.
Yep.
But I think there are tangible benefits to like what their strategy is.
Well, to the health of the game. and to the collectability of all the pieces and all the old cold foils, right?
Yeah. So I think one of the things, like if you really make Living Legend, if you push Living Legend really hard, I think that overall it's going to be a net positive for people's consumer confidence in the sets as they come out.
That's true.
For the long-term health of the game.
And it'll sell some of the old boxes that are still lingering around.
Yeah,
although, Dash.io is helping out, but
Monarch,
that Bud Light ain't going to sell itself.
Well, Monarch and Everfest are not looking too bad right now, I believe.
Well, Everfest seems better and better.
Yeah.
Right? So let's see what changes come down the pike. You wanted to primarily make this about Rosetta. Mm-hmm. Are there any other Rosetta points that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to use Rosetta kind of as as an intro, because Rosetta really revitalized, I think, a lot of interest in the secondary market in the existing Runeblade and Wizard cards.
Okay.
These cards went up 2 or 3 times, at least the ones that fit well in the decks. So, yeah, I just think that I'm hopeful that I would want the market to be less volatile. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to be the hero rotates, it's a $5 card.
Okay.
Then it becomes, a $30 card.
Okay.
I would much rather it be the hero rotates, but it's playing Living Legend.
So it's always a $8 to $10 card. Yeah.
And then when it's played in CC, now it's a
$20 card. But you have copies, because you have copies of it.
Yeah.
People have copies of it already.
Yeah,
they're not dumping it and then hence it going down and up and down. Yeah, it seems to be it feels like the player base is a nomadic base, if I can say that, where they just I just need my 80 cards for this deck, and then if it's not winning me any games anymore, I'll sell it and get the new cards for the next deck. And that's not conducive to building a healthy collector base.
Yeah, I'd rather them hold on to the cards because they know that they're going to be, playable in Living Legend.
Speaking of Living Legend, speaking of collectability, and also Rosetta, see, there's the Venn diagram of everything coming together. I have to say that although I don't own one, and I will want to own a few and open one, they have a Marvel Briar, right?
They have a Marvel Briar and a Marvel Rosetta.
Yes. Well, I was going to get to that. The Marvel Briar is just a regular Marvel hero, right? Because it's never officially been printed in a box in cold foil.
Yeah.
Although I remember there's Young Briar and Adult Briar in promo cold foil, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't violate the LSS cold foil policy. Right. But Briar's not playable right now. But the Marvel Briar seems to be very celebrated, and even more celebrated than the Marvel Briar is the Marvel Rosetta Thorn that isn't even tournament legal, but it's sexy and it's still valuable, still worth over $500-$600 right now. I
think Rosetta Thorn is the perfect example of a generically powerful card that is gonna, at least for the foreseeable future, if you want a 1-cost Runeblade weapon, that's the
in Living Legend,
the cream of the crop.
That's your Living Legend gold standard. There will probably never be a better Runeblade weapon than this.
Yeah.
Right? Hence, it's really smart to print it. Hence, by them printing Briar the Thorn, as well as that Briar specialization card, that's signaling an interest in LSS pushing the Living Legend format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think they're taking, I think with all of the things that they do, I think they always seem to every set they do a little jab, test the waters, and then if it is well received, I think then they go farther into it, maybe 1 or 2 sets down the line. I don't know. That's my plea to LSS. Please just push Living Legend format. Make the cards in these sets really exciting to open and then to hold on to. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I couldn't ask for more, because that doesn't seem to be happening these past couple of sets.
Yeah.
Right? Fab 2.0 hasn't been good at really making people enthusiastic about it. And right now, it's gotten to the point where, because Fab 2.0 started with Uprising, there's now a dragon trade. There's a dragon pump, then Dromai got LL, then there was a dragon dump, Now there's dragon speculation because of Dromai speculation.
Oh, yeah.
And then now there's a dragon semi-pump again. And I'm just like, is that really healthy to do this cyclical thing again and again? I'm not trying to treat Flesh and Blood like a stock market, but the people, you know, in the Reddits and the Discords seem to be treating this like it's you know, fab penny stocks. And is that really healthy for the long-term viability of the game? I don't think so. I'd rather just do what I did, which was collect, you know, 12 of every Dragon Marvel and never sell them.
Yeah.
And enjoy them, because that's what collecting, right? Aggregating these awesome cards are. That's what it's supposed to be about. But that's up to LSS to print the new sets that interact with the old sets and print solid generics that will, you know, stand the test of time and be relevant and playable in the future. And hopefully not get banned like Art of War or Tome of Findal. So
That's
look
like
at that delicate balance.
Not banned in...
They will live forever in living legend.
Yeah.
Until they get fully banned. Like Kraken's Aether Vein. Or Crown of Seeds.
Is Crown of Seeds? No, Crown of Seeds is not banned in Living Legend.
You can play Crown of Seeds in Living Legend?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Is Starvo allowed to use Crown of Seeds?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Maybe not. I don't know. But definitely, Aether Vein is definitely banned.
Yeah.
Is there anything super banned in Living Legend right now?
I think Bonds of Ancestry is restricted. Okay.
Restricted to one? The restricted I know, because half of Starvo's power list is restricted, right?
Yeah.
Oakenold and Crippling and some other stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's restricted in Living Legend, but I think it might be.
Okay. All right, well, those are my pleas.
Yeah.
You know, release PvE and all the problems will be solved. That's also another... just throwing that out there, if LSS ever watches. Yeah. So, that's that. Yeah, hopefully we fleshed out this topic and we, you know, said it. We presented it without ranting too much. So, anything else, Yuanji?
No, if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe.
Twiddle the notification button.
Yeah, and
oh, if you got time and interest and you like interacting with us, just join our Patreon where we've got a private Discord and your support goes to Yuanji and the FaBled Runaways. Let's go Runaways, everybody. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Bye. Little baby, you want to explain to everybody how come there's open cards? They won't believe you if you pull like a super hit. What happened?
It's because I didn't want to open the wrapper on camera.
So you pre-opened it? They're gonna say Philly is a scammer. Philly doesn't actually have the cards. You might have just placed those cards, but whatever. You wanted me to film, so we're filming. Let's go. 2 packs this time. Okay. What is that? I don't know what that is. Okay. Mia something. Oh, energy. After the energy, I think we're done, right? Ducian, V-Guard energy. That's like 3 energy cards. All right. Next pack.
It's not.
We already got the Lugia in the beginning, so it's very unlikely that we get any more. Lugia V-Star is pretty cool, though.
Didn't I just got that?
Oh, it's a Pikachu. It's a special Pikachu. That's cool. Foil Pikachu. That's also a Pikachu. A Quad Stone.
That's not Pikachu.
It looks like a Pikachu. Alright, that's it. That's why 4 out of 5 Pokemon packs suck.